I've always wondered why certain players do really well against certain teams and not so well against other teams. I'll give you an example. Vardy versus Arsenal always seems to score against them, almost a goal an appearance. However, there are certain situations, like I think of Ian Wright against Peter Schmeichel. I think he never scored against Peter Schmeichel. And that's Arsenal versus Manchester United we're talking about. It's just strange how these things happen. Can you try to explain it for me as a non-professional footballer, Martin and Danny?
It only takes, listen, for a striker, it only takes a moment, doesn't it, to score a goal. I mean, I didn't really have a player that I felt, oh, this is a nightmare. He always seems to score no matter what he does. I mean, I was playing for a long time, so over the course of it, there's peaks and troughs. But I think people just, it's psychological. When Vardy plays against Arsenal, he would have looked at the quality of those defenders and thought, I'm going to get a moment, and it's down to me then. And then he's come into the game with confidence, having scored at the weekend, and he's just waiting for that moment. But you've got to be able to counteract that, disrupt him, get in his ear, pull him, stand on him, you know, whatever you can to disrupt him. And it was too comfortable tonight, a little bit too comfortable. Arsenal improved defensively, but I always felt there was moments in that game where Vardy was looking like he was going to score. And he knows, and he's done it again. And we had quite a face-off with Aubameyang and Vardy going after this, you know, top goal scorer. You could see Aubameyang's face dropped. He knew. It's a vital goal for Leicester.
Yeah. Danny, your take on favourite teams to play against and not so favourite teams?
No, I think, you know, like I said with Jamie, I think he knows when he plays against Arsenal, and I know, I don't want to brandish this word, but when you hear about Arsenal defenders maybe being a bit soft, you know, like I said, Martin there, and I can imagine exactly what Martin would have done against Jamie Vardy. You know, he would have been all over him and not given him a second, because he knows the quality that he's got and he only needs one chance. But I think tonight as well, you see some of his other qualities tonight. I know he scores a lot of goals against Arsenal in his career, but you know, some of his crossing tonight, you know, trying to set up his teammates, you know, was outstanding. And I think sometimes, you know, we see him as just a goal scorer, but I think tonight we've seen other sides of his game that, you know, he's a very good all-round player.
Can I also ask in that race for the Golden Boot? It's really heating up in the Premier League. What's it like for the strikers when they do score a goal or they see a competitor score a goal, not necessarily in their match, but in a simultaneous kickoff, Martin? Because obviously, when you were at Arsenal, there's, you know, Henry, Ian Wright, Nicolas Anelka, players that knew how to put the ball in the back of the net, and I'm sure one of the accolades at the end of the season to be the top scorer in the division.
They're all quite different. You know, I think Henry, when he was in the zone, was just unbelievable. You know, an international sprinter, not wearing spikes, he wearing football boots. And when he was in the zone, he was frightening. Righty, you know, if he scored a goal at half-time, you'd say, right, your headlines tomorrow. Oh, yeah, you're right. And then he'd grab a hat-trick because he wanted to be the top dog, the number one man. So there's different things that motivate the strikers. But essentially, they're in front of goal, they flick a switch of calmness, and they just pick a finish. Both of them were quite magnificent. And Anelka as well. Let's not forget him. He was lethal in front of goal. So I've been around some really good strikers, but they have a certain mindset, and that's the difference between the top player and an ordinary player, really, in front of goal. And Vardy now has that. He got it very late in his career, 27, 28, coming into the Premier League, but now he goes into every game expecting to score.
Of those players you just mentioned, who was the most natural finisher during your playing days? I know it's a hard question.
I think, you could say Bergkamp. I didn't even mention him, but I think Righty was sort of, almost like he had a book in front of him and he'd sort of, well, okay, I haven't put it in the bottom left corner for a while. I think I might try that today. Well, I'll put it top right. It's time stood still for him, right, in front of goal. His finishing was unbelievable. Whereas with Henry, it was like, I know where I'm putting this. And you could almost work it out that he would, you know, that favourite finish that he had. So I can't really pick between the two of them. Both magnificent. But I think maybe Henry's pace frightened the living daylights out of the Premier League and probably puts him just ahead of him.
Yeah. And, I mean, for Jamie Vardy to be part of that Centurion club, what's his greatest strength, do you feel, Danny? What is his greatest attribute?
What I know, obviously I know Jamie quite well, and I like that he's still raw. Sometimes players, you know, that it can be coached out of him. And knowing Jamie, you know, his aggression, you see him off the ball, he'll chase defenders down, and you know he'll block, you know, passes, he'll tackle. He's just a nuisance. And when you see that as a defender behind, and your striker's, you know, still, and he's 33 years of age and he's still chasing people, he's running around the pitch like he's still 21. And I think sometimes when he's like that, he's in the zone. And I feel like he knows he needs to you know, that aggression helps him. And when he like I said, when he's got that aggression, he's a better player. And I said he knows he's going to get a chance. And what I do like about him as well is, you know, obviously Martin spoke about some, you know, amazing strikers there and their qualities finishing. But I think sometimes as well, I like with Jamie that right and left foot, he'll just put his foot through it. And he puts his foot through it, but he puts it, you know, he'll go across the keeper. And like I said, his right and left foot are very good. And like I said, I like the fact that he puts his foot through it. And I think that as well comes from a bit of aggression. Simply, someone could have annoyed him. And that's probably the worst thing you want to do, is because if he gets one chance, it's hitting the back of the net.